Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to show you how to make these daffodil cupcake toppers. So to make them I use these daisy cutters here, and I use these because they have 6 petals, and I'll leave a link to these in the description so you can look at them closer. Okay, so to begin with I cut out some green sugar paste discs and I left them overnight to dry, and these will be the base of the cupcake topper. So here I've got some yellow flour paste. I coloured it yellow and I'll leave a link to the colour that I use in the description. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to roll this out very thinly. It's just a couple of mils thick. And then I'm going to take my daisy cutter and I'm just going to press down. And then I'm just going to move it around to make sure I've got a nice clean cut. And then I'm just going to use my brush just to gently push the shape out of the cutter. And there we go. So now I've popped the shape onto a foam pad and I'm just using my ball tool just to go around on each petal, just to gently thin it out so it looks more like a petal and to shape it more like a daffodil petal. And now here I've got my veining tool. This is one of my favourite tools. I'm just going to push the flower to the edge of my foam mat, and then I'm just going to gently roll the veining tool on each of the petals. So I've pushed it to the end of the mat so the end of the veining tool doesn't make a hole in the middle of the flower. Okay, so now I'm just going to use my ball tool again just to come in, just gently press down in the middle, and you can see that lifts the petals up. Okay, so now I'm going to make the middle of the daffodil, and I've got a small ball of orange flour paste which I'm now going to form into like a little cone shape. Just going to use my Scriber tool just to go in there, move it around, and it'll create a nice little hole, which you can see there. And now I'm just going to insert my vein tool and just move it around just to create some little veins inside. And now this is entirely optional, but if you've got one it looks quite good. So this is another veiner, and I'm just going to roll the paste onto this veiner, and you can see it's creating a nice vein texture on the outside too. So I've just had a little bit of clear alcohol in the middle of my flower, and I'm just going to stick that into the center, and then you can shape your petals how you like them. So it is a good idea to leave these to harden now, so it'll be easier to attach them to the topper later. Okay, so now I'm going to make the stems, and I've got some green flour paste, and I'm just going to roll that into a tube. And then I'm just going to use my cake smoother just to further roll that, make it thinner and even. So I want 3 stems for this cupcake topper. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim this into 3, and then I'm just going to keep rolling it until I've got them the same width. Okay, so I've got 3 the same width, and then what I'm going to do is just going to put a line of clear alcohol down the middle of the cupcake topper, and I'm just going to stick one of the stems all the way down that middle. Now this is the longest one. You want 1 long and 2 shorter ones. So I'm just going to trim that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick some more of, or apply some more of the clear alcohol either side of that stem to pop the next ones in. Now I'm only going to stick the bit that goes alongside the middle stem down, and you'll see why later. I just need the top part that bends to the left and right to be able to move. So there we go, and I'm just going to trim that. So I use clear alcohol as this evaporates and doesn't leave any marks, but if you prefer you could use an edible glue. Okay, so firstly I'm going to add the middle daffodil. I'm just going to put a small ball of green flour paste on the top there, just so the flower looks like it's more 3D and popping out. Just going to add a little bit of clear alcohol to the flower, and I'm just going to pop that into position. If you wanted to, you could use that veiner tool just to press down and to help you put it into position, but if it's dry then it should be okay. So now I'm going to do the one to the right, and this is why I had to leave that little stem able to move, because I needed to see how I could fit it in with the one in the middle. So I've just worked that out, and I'm just going to stick that down where it needs to go now. I'm just going to pop the ball of green paste on and then stick the flower on. As you can see, it's a lot easier because I've let the flowers harden. I quite like it with the flowers going over the base of the cupcake topper. My first one, they all went over, and I thought that looked quite good. Okay, so now we're just going to apply the last one. So again, I'm just checking that it fits in and if I need to move that stem a little bit. So I'm happy where that stem is now. Just going to stick that down, and then I'm just going to stick the final flower into place. Okay, so now I'm going to make the bow, and I've just rolled out some pink paste, and I'm just going to trim that to be the tails of the bow. So I'm just using a knife just to shape that. Just figuring out what size I want it to be. Okay, checking for size against the topper. I think I need that to be a little bit shorter. So I'm just using a dry brush just to neaten any edges. And I felt that the bows were too wide, so I just made them a little bit narrower. Just cutting a little bit of a triangle out of the bottom of both of them. And after I've done that, I'm just going to neaten it off again with a dry brush and stick them into position. Okay, so now I'm going to make the bows by forming 2 small balls of pink paste into flat triangle shapes, making sure they're the same size. And now I'm just going to use a cocktail stick just to press down slightly, just to create 3 little creases into the triangles. So the smaller end of the cocktail stick is at the point of the triangle, and then it's going to come in and just squish that together, and that creates a little bow effect, like a creased bow. Okay, so I'm just going to stick those into position. There we go. And then lastly, I'm just going to get a small ball of pink paste just to pop that into the middle of the bow. And that is the first cupcake topper made. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to make the second cupcake topper. And you can see here I've already rolled out the stems. So I'm just applying a little bit of clear alcohol to the first stem, which I'm just going to now put into position. And I'm just going to do the same with the second stem. So I'm just going to trim them. And then I'm just going to neaten that edge off with a dry brush. And then I actually meant to make the second stem a little bit shorter, so I'm just going to trim that there. And now I'm going to show you how I make the leaves. Like you can see, I've already put one in. So I'm just going to roll a tube of green paste on my hand there. You can see it can get a little bit tapered at one end, but that's fine. That's what we want. Press it down with my smoother. And I'm just going to take a veiner tool. I'm just going to pull down and just make a little crease in the middle of the leaf there. Just trim that because I don't want it very long. I'm going to further shapen it by just pinching the top there. And then because it's going to go kind of to the left, I'm just going to take a bit of the right away, just so then it will sit flush against the stem, which you can see here. So just checking that fits before applying a little bit of clear alcohol to the back of it and then sticking it into position. So once I've done that, I'm going to make the third leaf, and then I'm going to stick the daffodils into position exactly the same way as I did the first topper. And you'll notice that I used 2 different size daisy cutters for this second topper, so there's 2 different sized daffodils. Okay, so that's both your daffodil cupcake toppers made. I really hope that you like this tutorial. Please do check out my other ones. Please comment, like and subscribe for more, and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.